Murray, NATO Secretary General said today that he expects most member states to meet their spending quota by the end of this year. When he says most, is Canada on track to be part of that group?
Absolutely not. There isn't even a discussion, political discussion in this country about how to reach 2%. That's on either side of the aisle. Neither the Liberals nor the Conservatives have committed to getting towards 2%. Every time you ask the Liberals whether or not they're committed to 2%, because of course we had the declaration in Wales in 2014, and then of course the renewed declaration in Vilnius from NATO, which basically said 2% of the gross domestic product is what countries should be spending on their defense. You ask the Liberals, they avoid answering the question. The Conservatives were most recently asked about it, and they have said that they're going to work towards it, which was a line from the Harper era. Now, to get to 2%, it would require Canada to invest an additional $18 billion a year in defense just to meet the 2% target of NATO.
Katie, I feel like this is such a broken record. This has been such a long issue in the U.S. Obama, Bush, you're talking about Republican, Democratic administrations have been trying for this. What's the view in Washington about Canada's defense priorities?
American officials, various administrations have tried to pressure Canada into spending more. Now, mind you, they went about it in different ways than Donald Trump is doing, bragging about urging Russia on to do whatever the hell it wants to certain countries that don't meet their spending targets. But think about Barack Obama in 2016. He came to Ottawa, delivered a speech in Parliament, and said, you know, the world needs more Canada, NATO needs more Canada. It was more of a public pressure campaign, but polite and cheerful. House of Commons stood in applause when Barack Obama delivered that line. Now, if you talk to any Canadian officials who deal with Americans on the issue related to defense spending, you'll know that behind the scenes, they are far more forceful in terms of communicating that they think Canada is incredibly capable when it comes to defense, but that Canada is being a laggard, that Canada's not pulling its weight, that it should do more and it must do more. That's certainly the message that's delivered behind the scenes when you talk to any of your sources who deal with Americans on this issue.
So you're talking years of, a gentle push, a firm push. Murray, you said it would be $18 billion. But why can't Canada do this? Why won't or can't it meet these defense spending goals?
Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, absence of political will. Unlike the United States, there are no votes in defense spending, higher defense spending. There's no votes on foreign policy in this country. There's nothing to, it's not an electability issue. The other reason is capacity. In the 1990s, the Liberals cut the Defense Department, cut the department area where they do the purchasing. They cut from 9,000 individuals down to 4,500. Over the last 30 years, those jobs have not been replaced. So when the government tries to spend more money on defense, it runs into this consistent roadblock. When the Conservatives were in power, they talked an awful lot about buying more equipment, but the problem was they didn't have the people and the resources within the department to be able to do that. And the Liberals came to power, they haven't restored the cuts either. And in fact, they've all embarked, both the Conservatives and the Liberals, during their various times, have embarked on programs that have tried to put more complex and more money programs through a smaller pipeline within national defense. That's why we're not seeing stuff bought, and that's not why we're seeing money spent. So even if the federal government were voted to appropriate $18 billion extra a year for national defense, they couldn't spend it.
And then there's the bottom line to all of this, which is, I think, a presumption that the neighbors will take care of it, right? The Americans will take care of it. And to your point, Katie, about what Trump said, making it clear, well, maybe the neighbors won't take care of it, encouraging Russia to maybe attack NATO countries that don't meet their spending quotas. Those comments of his, right, they reverberated here, they reverberated in Europe. What's been the larger response there?
So it's Donald Trump, and people are taking him seriously, but again, they know it's Donald Trump. Sometimes he says things that are absolutely outlandish, outrageous, because in the moment, he's getting positive feedback. He was at a rally when he made those comments, telling that story he says he had with a European leader about his concerns that NATO countries weren't meeting those funding targets, and getting that round of applause, that rush in that moment. But European leaders are seriously considering what this could mean for the future of the alliance if Donald Trump does return to power. We've heard comments from various leaders saying, listen, we need to be prepared for the possibility that Europe could need to go it alone, that there needs to be an increase in spending, that more people do need to put that funding into those programs and try to meet the target. If not meet it, get as close as they can, just do more. So that really seems to be what European leaders are taking out of this. Whatever Donald Trump says, they know that they are in a moment where they have to step up, because there is deep concern that whatever happens after the next U.S. election, it could radically change how the world views security, particularly in Europe.
And that election is screaming down the tracks at everyone. All right, Katie Simpson, Marie Brewster, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thanks.